And I think that we're just going to keep moving more and more into that attitude that it's not up to the Greta Thunbergs and the Donald Trumps and the Hillary Clintons and the George Soroses and whoever else. We've got to make the positive change, that we want to see. It is up to us, and it's a good thing that it's up to us. It's a damn good thing, I think. I think we are the ones that should be doing it. It's very liberating. It feels good to put that effort into it and know that this positive change that happened, that like, wow, I participated in that. That feels awesome. I didn't need some babysitter to do it for me. I wasn't sitting there whining. I participated in this positive change, and we did that. Go us, yay. So I think there's definitely going to be more and more of that attitude. We've been seeing it build, and in the contrast to come, there's just going to be more and more of it. I think we're going to be seeing, a lot of negative inspiring, a lot of even greater positive. And I think that overall, it's going to be a good thing. Like Richard said, and like you said, uncomfortable growth, but it's going to be growth. It's going to be a good thing. And videos like this, people are going to shake their fists at it and go, "Oh, you're pointing this stuff out. You're triggering us. You're racist. You bunch of fucking white people and whatever." As like you're a white male. You're a straight white male. You have no room to talk. You're damaging my intersectionality. Whatever. It's just like, but let's not lower ourselves to that. Like, yeah, it's funny to like make fun of those people every once in a while, have a couple of laughs, but like, let's not embrace clown world. See this honkler pin, this weapon of mass destruction, this clown world pin here with my BitChute shirt. That's just an acknowledgement of where we're at. That just like, look, we're at this position. It's clown world. It doesn't have to stay clown world. We can this fertilizer of clown world can be used to grow this awesome garden. Like we can make the human experience like better than anything that anybody's ever seen. And it's going to be challenging, but damn it, we can do it, I think.
I
Anybody else have stuff to say?
when I finally get a boyfriend, I'm gonna buy him one of those.
What the hell?
One of those pins.
What the hell?
What
the hell?
What do you mean when you finally get a boyfriend?
What the hell?
Because there's an availability right there. You're not too
What the
far off
fuck?
age. You're both adults.
You don't want to date a paramedic? You don't want to date a cool paramedic? You don't want to date a handsome paramedic, really?
Kakistanis,
Wow.
gotta give it the Kakistanis. I mean, it's cultural
Look
appropriation.
at her. She's blushing already. It's like I just poked her with a needle and flirted with her and hung 1,000 milliliter bag of like blushing compound, and she's just like,
but in a good way, not in that creepy incel way.
Yeah,
hey,
might want to make that clear.
Incel. I'm gonna stick you with this needle, and then I'm gonna stick you with this needle, and by needle, I don't mean this needle, I mean my needle.
With your one-eyed beard.
Here, I'll even make it even funnier. Why don't I do something here and actually show you people some things that, like, some of the tools of the trade here. I'm gonna look like
a laugh, man. We gotta embrace that lighthearted laugh.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, it's needed, man. It's needed. Really needed.
Let's show some let's pull some IV equipment out here. I'm gonna look like an intravenous drug user, but that's okay. So right there's an extension set. So you got like a catheter port there, little tail port cover, yeah. And we fill these with saline, so we have like oh, that's an extension set. So
when you want to do the direct injection of Agent Orange with Roundup,
absolutely, that's just the way a bloody goes, right? You just inject yourself with whatever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a joke, not an endorsement. Nobody actually go doing that, please don't.
Okay, so maybe this is the wrong bag. I think this is just for my needle stuff. I've got 2 bags here. Yeah. Okay.
For your drug paraphernalia.
Yeah, my practice drug paraphernalia. Absolutely.
Kristen can catch the video of this later. You obviously can't see what we're seeing because it's on audio. He's coming through the traditional, phone company way of it, phone number.
Here we go. Here's the IV equipment. So constricting band. These we wrap around the arm.
Mm-hmm.
So, you just put it on your arm like so. Not going to actually do it, but you wrap it around the arm. You tighten it down. That way any veins that are distal to that band all the way up to the proximal point.
So for when Dr. Acula doesn't want to actually murder people, he can just directly inject the carrot juice.
So and then we have some other things here. So we got like Vinegar Juniors. These are for what we hold the IVs down with. Tegaderms, which are a little bit different. And you got several different sizes of IVs. So got different IV catheters here. So what is this one? 18 gauge. This is a little bit bigger. Should be doing this with gloves, but oh well.
So basically the proper names for these gauges are a little bit of pain, a lot of pain, and pure agony. Like that's the proper titles for these.
Yeah. Kind of. I mean kind of. So like 18 gauges and 20 gauges are the standard. That's like what you're gonna see in the hospital. If you want sheer pain and large fluid volume, I will show you pain and large fluid volume. 22 gauges are for like super small veins. So
that'll make 3.
22 gauge catheter is like super tiny and small. It's not very big.
Yeah,
that's like
Barack Obama's member, or are you describing what you're holding?
That's for older folks, people with fragile veins.
You're making my trypanophobia go off the charts right now.
Oh, don't worry.
Oh, is that for your needles?
Yeah, it's for your needles.
Don't
There's
worry,
a 20 gauge.
He hasn't learned how to reach through the screen with that yet, so you're safe.
Well, here's something to alleviate. Here's something to alleviate. So, the one thing that I can tell you that you won't really be able to see here that I could show you in person is there's the metal needle underneath which retracts. You see how this thing retracts? It's a safety mechanism. So the needle goes inside this plastic housing. What remains behind is a Teflon-coated catheter. That's what is inside of the body, is the Teflon-coated catheter. The needle itself does not stay within you.
Yeah, I actually know that because once ever in my life I did actually have an IV. So
well, I've had at least 15 or 20 in me because part of the rite of passage in our class is that we stick each other with IVs over and over and over again.
Oh my gosh.
But here, this. Now that is a 14 gauge needle. Look at that. That's large bore fluid volume right there. That's a nice horse needle, ain't it? Isn't that cute? Yeah, you can see the Teflon coated catheter.
That's so bad for Lauren.
Yeah, that's a 14 gauge needle. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, that's enough to give Lauren nightmares for the next week.
Yeah. That's a 14 gauger. And we do not we will not stick somebody with this unless they're really sick and dehydrated, as in they are dying and they've got fluid pouring out through their skin or they're unconscious. You're most likely going to get an 18 or a 20, which is a standard needle, tiny poke, no big deal, And we're gentle about it. We're not just walking up and say, "Hey, you got nice veins."
Yeah, when Richard said there's only certain things when Richard said there's only certain things that you could only see in person, that was kind of like, "Hey, Jasmine, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, future trip."
Anyway, so here's an extension set flush. So this is a 10 milliliter flush. This one I partially used already, just just for training purposes. I've got one here that's completely unopened, full flush. So that extension set, you take this little white guy off, you plug that into the other side, flush the set, and then you just flush with saline. And then if you need to push meds through the saline lock, you can after it's been secured with Tegaderm and everything else.
No actual heroin was used in the making of this PSEC episode.
Yeah.
Only one person was slightly traumatized.
Oh, you poor baby.
The only time I was ever okay with when they needed to take blood, I think it was for like my thyroid or something. I was sick, and I watched them take the blood. I'm like, cool.
No animals were harmed in the making of this PSEC episode, except for that hat.
Tito's
Nice
gonna come
and
after us.
fuzzy. Nice and fuzzy.
My brother has a fuzzy hat that he saw when we went to the Biltmore house. And he was like, I have to get that hat.
When furry
It was one of those.
I have a beret coming in the mail, so in a few weeks I'll be wearing a green beret.
No, he's not really a comic.
I almost thought you were gonna say burp.
Okay.
I'm gonna be wearing a burp.
Okay. Parquet.
Parquet.
Parquet. See. See.
I can't believe it's not real communism.
Oh, habla inglés.
I can't believe it's not butter. Real communism, yeah. Haha.
Viva la revolución de Cuba. I'm sorry, I don't speak retarded. He's speaking communism. They're the same thing. They're interchangeable.
Well, speaking of all that fun paradigmal stuff, does anybody want me to tell the abridged version of the Cryon parody called The Ship of Humanity? Now, the actual file that you can listen to the whole thing on Cryon.com is like 40 minutes long in and of itself. I'm not going to take that long, so seeing as that's the case, obviously spoilers, because I'm going to give the fast forwarded version. I'm not going to give the slow train version that Cryon did, but is a parable. It's called The Ship of Humanity. And you imagine this big wooden ship. It's a parable, it's a metaphor, obviously, but huge wooden ship, like makes an aircraft carrier look like nothing. The midway point where the water meets the ship is already 50 decks down. And then, it goes down even further. This is a metaphor of the ship of humanity. It's a wooden ship. It's the idea that this ship has always worked for us. Obviously the ship is representative of governmental systems and religious systems and all these other, various belief systems and things, that it's always been this way. It always will be this way. It's always worked for us. It's too big to fail. It'll, that kind of mentality. And then, of course, things start to shift and change, and these are positive shifts and positive changes. So everybody starts thinking, oh man, the ship is going to sink. The ship is going to sink. And yet no water ever comes up. There's no water. And it even gets to the point where the rats are moving up through the decks to the top deck and jumping off of the ship, and still no water's coming in. And it starts even getting to the point where you see wooden planks floating in the water. The planks, they're breaking off. They're floating in the water. It looks like the ship is falling apart, and yet there's still no water in the ship. And what the ending point is that the wood fell off to reveal the metal ship underneath. The metal ship, the solid ship. So when things are shifting out of this old wood negative structures that are, based on all the tomfuckery that people have been complaining about forever, when it's moving away from that into things that are better, things that do serve, things that are more positive, things that are more benevolent, and things that are functional and that aren't all this criminality and scumbaggery, when all the old wood starts popping off, people are going to start thinking it's the end of the world. Oh my God, the climate change is killing us all. It's hate speech. The KKK is everywhere. The commies are everywhere else. People are just going to be losing their shit because the old paradigms are dissolving as the new paradigms are pushing through. The good paradigms, the better paradigms, the things that are more functional. People learning how to deal with each other in these more functional, more benevolent, more loving, more sane ways. So it's like, that's so this metaphor to describe 2020 and forward is that idea that the more the positive moves in, the more people are going to be flipping their shit. Oh my God, it's falling apart. It's falling apart. We're all doomed. And that, that's only just a perception, because what they're really seeing that they're losing is the old structures and the old paradigms, and these were the things that are causing all the problems for humanity in the first place. So it's like, out with the shit, in with the good, solid, stable stuff, but that contrasty process is just going to make a lot of people lose their shit. And so we need to be vigilant and realize what's happening and not lose our shit ourselves and be able to see it for what it is. Like, there's all this good stuff coming in and it's creating a fucking shitstorm. But it can't help but do that because there's so many people addicted to the old ways, the dysfunction. But we shouldn't follow their example. We should be aware of the new positive, better changes coming in and be a part of that and let Clown World go its own way.
Well said.
Very well said.
Is a really cool metaphor. Obviously, he gets into all this elaborate, detail, 40 minutes worth, just about. But mine was just a short little abridged version. But I still thought it was really cool. And Cryan's been talking a lot about this stuff lately for 2020, that we're going to see a lot more inappropriate things that corporations and governments are going to be doing. Like, the more light that you shine, the more you're able to see the dirt. But if you're able to see that dirt, you're able to clean it up, and that's a positive thing. That's a good thing. So we've just got to be vigilant in these times and turn all of this negative we encounter into the positive. We need to pan the shit to get out the gold nuggets and use those gold nuggets to make things better, if you will. And that's really going to be important in 2020 and for this whole next decade. It's going to be challenging, but damn it, we can meet the challenge. We can do this shit, and we're not alone. We have each other. We are not alone. Damn it, we do not have to do any of it alone.
Yeah.
Rightio, mate. You're talking about those Australian gold nuggets. Meanwhile, we need to pay attention to the fact that half of Australia's burned to the ground. Got to tell that to the koalas. What kind of habitat are they going to have in 2020, eh? 80% of their habitat's
That is
gone.
a great accent.
That is
Yeah.
great.
I love
Here we
accents.
can.
Blimey, I could take you out to Rich's place.
Here
You know.
we can.
It was actually renamed after Mick's place. They shot the poor bastard in 1996. They shot him right through the head. I remember old Mick.
Here we
Real
can
Crocodile
witness.
Dundee. They shot him
Here
right
we
in the
can.
head, they did. And then they
Here
took
we
our
can-
guns.
Here we can witness the native morons burning Australia to the fucking ground. That's what native morons do. As they stand there going,
Native
what?
What? What?
Ollie with the cracker?
This is the great thing about getting older. You just accumulate hats.
I
This
got
hat
a
I
hat
this hat I
somewhere.
acquired from Millionaire Medford.
My Wisconsin Dells hat.
I got a couple hats. I
I've got
got this little sun hat.
Oh, she looks like such a cute and proper lady ready to go to the Kentucky Derby.
Oh.
Dale, I do.
Yeah.
Needs more flowers and
I
random
do.
stuff.
That it does. It needs more flowers
I have
and
a fan somewhere. I have one of those fans somewhere. I forgot where I put it.
see,
Dang
now
it!
she's just trying to show off for me.
No, I seriously have one of those fans.
No, I believe you. But she's got to show off.
Oh. I also have one of these caps.
Yeah, I remember. I
What's
remember
the
one
symbol?
time. I remember one time.
That's a
I was.
Alabama
I remember one time.
Cattlemen's Association.
I remember one time a while back. I was talking to Jasmine. Her and I were on camera, and she started putting more clothes on. And her mom came in and was like, and started flipping her shoe like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Jasmine, you're supposed to be taking them off, not putting them on. How dare you? You obey your mother." You know? You're an adult now,
Yeah,
damn it.
strip-
Take those
yeah,
clothes
strip
off. This
instead of
big.
the- yeah, supposed to strip the dress.
That's like a reverse striptease. Like it was weird. It's like as if your mother was getting mad at you for adding more clothes. Like as if you were supposed to be doing the opposite. You're an adult now, young lady. Now you strip down to your like what is this?
Hashtag clown world.
It's like, you're not supposed to change in front of a man. And I'm like,
You weren't changing. You were adding more.
I had shorts on.
You were adding more.
It would have been funnier if I'd had my Ushanka on and I would have gone, duh, Jasmine, put more on. In Siberia, it is porn.
Or in Antarctica.
To make it hot, we just drink more vodka.
Oh, put it all on, baby. Put it all on. Throws money. Put it all on, baby. That's how we
Here,
roll
I
in
give you
Antarctica.
Arctic parka.
That's how the penguins roll, man.
That's how they roll.
Pack on the snow.
I wish I seriously knew where my fan was. I don't know what happened to it. It was a really pretty fan. I love it. And it even had a little slip of paper that went with it that said like different gestures mean different things.
How you doing over there, Kristen?
Huh?
I said, how you doing over there, Kristen?
You'd be talking to Kristen.
Is she still there?
I don't know. Is she?
I mean, the icon thingy is there.
There it is.
It's still connected. She
Found
might
it.
accidentally
It
have
was
the mute. She
stuff
might
in my
accidentally have
face.
the mute button pressed. Like she's done that before.
That might be it.
Either that or she fell
No, I've
asleep.
done it a number of times. I guess she might have fallen
Yeah.
asleep again.
Well, that's okay. I mean, let's face it. You know, she is in the Eastern time zone, just like you are. So it is 1:49 a.m. It's almost 2. So like
Yeah.
Jasmine's probably going to be leaving soon anyway because of the time, and we've already said
Yeah,
most
I needed.
most of what we need to say anyway for this, like, you know, how much more year of expansion do we need to talk about in this particular video anyway? All throughout the year, we're going to be discussing very specific discussions and dialectics and dichotomy and getting down to the brass tacks of things and how to shift the negative into positive and talking about very specific stuff. This is just more the general, like, you know, the looking back at the past, this is where we've come from, and now this is where we're going, and it's going to be an interesting ride. So it's not meant to get into every little detail of every little thing. That's not what this is for.
Well, I'm gonna leave the chat because sleep is calling my name.
I don't blame you
Yeah.
one bit. So
That's calling my
final
name too.
thoughts, buddy. Anybody have any final thoughts to say about this, about anything?
Nope.
Night.
I don't think.
Alrighty.
She
Yeah,
just left. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
we're still gonna keep this, this chat open for, even beyond the PSEC episode ending for whoever may or may not want to stay. But as far as ending the PSEC episode, well, everybody,
I think
thank you for
I was about to
watching.
say, I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave too. It's almost 2 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, I know
So
if you were gonna stay, it
later,
would have only been like
love you
another 10.
guys.
But good night. Catch you later, Jasmine.
Mm.
So, yep. Very appropriate. We're just kind of winding everything down. So, yep. Anyway, everybody, thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had some fun and we've inspired you to, view any of this upcoming contrast and tomfuckery. It's just an opportunity to just really be that positive change that you want to create. And just remember, it does not make you a nihilist or a fatalist or negative to point at a problem. It's like it doesn't make you any of that to say, hey, there might be a fire one day, so may as well just have a fire extinguisher. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, before we wind down, that story I think you said about your father and because he had a fire extinguisher. I think that'd be a good.
Yeah, he was driving up Sardine Creek, and this was like 3 or 4 years ago. This was a long time ago. It was a while ago. I remember it was a long time ago. This might have even been longer than that. It might have been 10 years ago. I don't remember. I just remember one time he was driving up Sardine Creek and came around the corner, and there was a little brush fire that was just getting ready, just starting right on the side of the roadway. Who knows what caused it? Could have been arson. Could have been any number of things. Anyway, he had his fire extinguisher in the truck and stops the truck, jumps out, gets the fire extinguisher out, puts this little brush fire out on the side of the road, and saves his property that's only like 2 miles up the road, and saves a whole bunch of people's ups and downs. That whole thing, saved an entire area and saved thousands of acres from potentially going up like kindling in the middle of the summer. So just proves that analogy is true. Just because you're carrying a fire extinguisher doesn't mean you expect fire, but you're prepared for it if it does occur.
Yeah, so unfortunately, a lot of people have this attitude to where, like, if you simply point out, hey, there's a potential for fire, so it's good to have the fire extinguisher, all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, you're so fatalistic, you're so nihilistic, you're so negative. How could you talk like that? How could you view the world like that? And of course, on the more extreme ends, getting accused of being a bigot or a racist or whatever. But on the more mild end, your average normie, not like your total straight up SJW type, but just, oh my God, you're being so negative. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm not at all. I'm actually being very positive, because being mindful of potential problems or existing problems and thinking about solutions and being prepared and things like that is a very positive state to be in. And I think this false positivity to where people, they're psychologically projecting and they feel that the situation is so hopeless that they can't even look at it. They can't even acknowledge it. They have to slander the truth tellers and look away in willful ignorance and say, you're being negative, in this false positivity. I think that is like literally the most negative, most nihilistic, most hopeless thing, that a person can do. And a lot of people do that. And it's like, I'm just going to stand up in the face of it. I'm just going to call it what it is, just like I'm saying right here. And if anybody wants to think I'm being hateful or racist or whatever, well, okay, that's your right to your perception, and I respect that. If that's what you want, cool, whatever. But I just think that the terrible attitude is the attitude of, I'm in such a state of hopelessness and fear that not only do I have to reject looking at data and reject solutions and be in the state, but I'm going to cover it over with a false sense of positivity, so I can hide my cowardliness and total moral bankruptcy from myself. So I'm just calling it as I'm seeing it. It's not a judgment. I'm not condemning anybody, but it is a sad situation, and I'm not gonna conform to it. I'm not gonna be yet another one who ducks my head down out of fear of the mob. It's just like, I'm gonna call it for what it is. And that's what it is, and I think it's a very positive thing to call it for what it is, because I don't think the situation's hopeless. I think there's plenty of hope. I think there's plenty we can do. I think that we really can turn this around. I think we really can take the negative and turn it into positive things. So that's where I stand. Have a wonderful day, night, whatever it is in your neck of the woods, Chatelet, and fucking hope you enjoyed yourself. Be positive, the real positive, not the fake positive. Catch you later.
Have a real happy New Year.
Yep. Have a happy New Year. Hope you had a Merry Christmas and all that good stuff. So catch y'all later. Till next time. Till next week and Trigger the Trigglies. Later.
See ya.
Now everybody say you can.